Okay, for this next video, we are going to use the PSCAD multiple run to step through all the tests in one go using PMVIEW. So let's go back to our SVC example case where we've been using PMVIEW to test the SVC model. And so far, we have just been changing this integer constant to change the different tests. But what we would like to do is to automatically step through the different tests. So what I'm going to do is go to the PSCAD view library. I'm going to get the multiple run block and copy it. And I will paste it here into my case. And I'll get rid of this. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to mirror this so it looks a little neater. And I will wire this into PMVIEW. What this block does, if you have it in your case, is it will restart PSCAD. It's like a for loop. It will restart PSCAD that many times and change this value, increment it. And so it will restart PSCAD each time, increment this value, and cause it to test a different test each time. We need to set up this block, so we're going to edit the parameters. And we're set to just increment integer parameters, sequential integer. So I need to go here and go to the integer settings. And what we want to do is, well, the tests start at 1, so we need to start at 1. And let's end at test number 10. The short circuit test requires a bit more setting up, so we won't run that one yet. But we'll run tests 1 through 10. Go over here so you see the tests. So we're going to run all these different tests, 1 through 10, flat start, LVRT, all the way through 10, but not short circuit ratio. And to save a bit of time, I'm actually just going to run for 15 seconds. So I won't see that last trip test at the very end. But I will. That will be enough to see the the normal LVRT, HVRT profiles. Okay, so this is mostly set up, but the last thing I need to do before I run it is to set it to save channels. Otherwise, the plots will just disappear as soon as they appear. So I right-click on the case, save channels to disk, and you can give it a file name. Maybe model quality test, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we're going to save channels. We have the multi-run set up. And now we can hit run. And it is running. And we see it's cranking through. So I'll go here. We're running the flat start run for number 1. And it's set right now to run 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, it should move on to the next test, which would be the LVRT test. There, it just reset and moved on to the LVRT test. All right, so we're going to leave that run for a little bit and see the results once it's done. Okay, we just completed run 10 of 10. All our runs are done, and now it's time to check the results. So the plots are only going to show the last result that was run, but all the files are saved here in the run folder, and they are saved as these INF plus out files. These files are CSV files, so you could actually plot them in Excel, or you could write a program to plot them. You unfortunately cannot load them into PSCAD, but you could purchase a separate program called Enterplot, which I highly recommend you consider purchasing. It is not very expensive to buy, and I think you only have to buy it once, and the license is just perpetual, and that will allow you to do more plotting. So I'm going to use Enterplot, also made by Manitoba Hydro, same people who make PSCAD, to help me plot these out files. So I just opened Enterplot, and the first time you use Enterplot, it's a little confusing because the page is kind of blank. But what you're going to do here, you're going to go to Data and right-click, and you're going to load a file because you need to populate data. And we're going to go to our folder, and we want to select file type, the EMT files. We want to get the INF files. The INF files have the header for all the plots, so it tells it what's actually plotted. The out file just has the raw data, so that's what you want to load. You want to load the INF, and you can see here these are the different tests, tests 1 through 10. So I'm going to first start with a flat start test. We will load that up, click open, and here it appears here. And here we go. I can see the different records. If I hover my mouse or click on them, it will actually produce a little preview of what the plot contains. Okay, so how do we actually plot the values? So to do that, we need to right-click on our sheet, and we want to add a graph frame. Right-click, add a graph frame. Here we have a graph frame. And now, let's say we want to see real and reactive power. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to click Add as Curve. I right-clicked on POI. And then here, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to paste the curve. And there is the real power. Obviously, for this SVC, the real power is going to be tiny, but let's look at reactive power. So I'm going to paste that as well. Nope, I didn't get that. Right-click, Add as Curve. Right-click. Oh, you have to click. Don't click up here. Click down here in the actual space and paste it. And I think I need to resize, so I'm going to hit R. And yep, there's reactive power. So this SVC was initialized to absorb reactive power normally, so you can see it's way down here absorbing reactive power. Green is down here. All right, well, the flat start is not very interesting, that test. So I'm actually just going to delete this. Let's move on to the next test. We can leave that data there. We could have actually left the plot there, but let's load the next test, which is LVRT. Oh, what did I click on? Load data. So test LVRT is test number 2. Add component graph frame. And test number 2. And let's add curve, paste curve P. And P is very small. Add curve, paste curve Q. Resize. I click here and push the R key on my keyboard, and that resizes my window. Now that's good, but I don't see voltage, and it would not make sense to add voltage to this plot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the title bar and add an overlay. Add overlay. Ah, yes, I have 2 plots. I'm going to make this bigger. Now I want to see voltage. Right-click on voltage, paste voltage. Much better. Now I can see what's going on. The voltage goes down and the SVC reactive power goes up. Very logical. Okay, so that's LVRT. Let's load HVRT data. That was test number 3. Test number 3. I'm going to add graph frame. I want to do it the same way, so I'm going to right-click up here and add an overlay, and then sometimes click around to get it to appear. Click up here. Okay, you got to click up there to be able to stretch it. All right, now we get the real power. Paste. Reactive power. Paste. Resize. And now get voltage. Paste. There we go. Now I can see real and reactive power. Very good. If you ever want to hide one of the plots after you plotted it, you can click on the trace like this, and you can uncheck the visible, and that turns it off. Because maybe you added too many things and it messes up your scale. And there we go. Now we can see the LVRT and the HVRT response on one window. And we could do so forth and create a report showing the different responses on one page. And that is how you use multi-run to run the different tests, and then you produce the plots in Enterplot. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and for the next video I will cover the short circuit ratio test, the last one we did not run.